actively serving this country, and this is how you're gonna treat me?
Back up, Daniel.
I didn't do anything.
Back up.
Whoa, hold on.
Daniel.
What's going? Hold on. You watch it.
Get out of the car. Get out of the car now.
That's fucked up.
Get out of the car now.
Sir, just get out of the car.
I'm trying to breathe.
Get out of the car now.
That's fucked up. That's really fucked up.
Yeah, get out of the car and get on the ground now. You're gonna get it again.
I don't even want to reach for my seatbelt. Can you?
Take your seatbelt off and get out of the car.
Can you please?
Get out of the car now. Listen, take off your seatbelt and get out of the car.
Look, I'm just gonna please.
You're gonna do what you're told. Get out of the car.
Look,
Take your seatbelt off and get out of the.
Look.
Take your seatbelt off.
look, my hands are out.
Take your seatbelt off and get out of the car.
My hands are out.
Don't reach in there, Daniel. Don't reach in there.
My hands are out. Please. Please, look.
I have so much to say, and this is not even the whole video of this incident. That young man is a lieutenant in the United States Army. He was in full military dress. He identified himself, and these police officers pepper sprayed him, hit him in the knees, pushed him to the ground, handcuffed him, threatened to file charges for obstruction of justice, fleeing and eluding or attempting to flee from a traffic stop, when he actually complied and put on his left turn signal to pull into the BP so he could be in a lit area where he could have the police encounter. And they pulled up, and I encourage you to watch the whole video. They pulled up with guns. Both officers pulled up with guns drawn for a traffic stop for conceivably no license plate or no license tags, which once they pulled him over, they could see that the tag was taped to the back of his SUV that he literally just bought. But those two officers are still employed by the Isle of Wight, and I struggle to find something funny about this, but the only thing funny I could think of is that you won't catch my black ass on the Isle of Wight, even though I'm light-skinned and it's spelled W-I-G-H-T, White. And one of those officers is named Rodriguez, but he's acting white too. So they actually extorted him and said, if you don't tell anyone what happened, we won't file charges against you. Now, thank God for body cams, thank God. But even if they didn't have the body cams, the young man in the video also had his cell phone going as well. So there's three different views. There's the two officers' body cams, and there's also the victim's body cam. So a few days ago, a lawsuit was filed against the two police officers in their professional capacity under 42 section, the 42 USC section 1983, which is the civil rights code that basically allows people that are basically suffering injustices like this man did from police officers or any other kind of law enforcement acting under the color of law. And you know, after this video, they searched his vehicle, which they didn't have because it wasn't an inventory sweep. It wasn't a search incident to a lawful arrest because he wasn't arrested. It wasn't like a fleeing felon because he was in handcuffs. So if a defendant or a suspect is in handcuffs, you can't search their vehicle unless you're going to impound it. And you can only search it once it's been impounded, because since he is in handcuffs, you can only, do a pat down of what we call the wingspan for officer safety. He did a whole unlawful search. So I read the lawsuit, it's like 36 pages. And so the civil rights that were violated were his Fourth Amendment rights to unreasonable search and seizures, because in order to effect a Fourth Amendment search that doesn't violate the Fourth Amendment, you have to have reasonable suspicion. You have to have probable cause that a crime is afoot. Or like you need some reasonable articulate suspicion that a crime has occurred. No crime had occurred. He complied with the traffic stop. He had no violation of the traffic code because he did literally just purchase that vehicle and had the temporary tags displayed in the back as is as is correct under the law. And these two officers have not yet been fired, but I think now that this video is out, they probably will at least put them on administrative leave. But this man had to, now just imagine if there was no body cam video and he had been arrested for obstruction of law enforcement officers. That's basically, you know, hitting a police officer, resisting arrest, which he didn't, and also fleeing and eluding, which he didn't. And that's obvious from the dash camera that he actually slowed down and then pulled over to the BP. So both officers colluded together to write false reports of their rendition of what happened. And it definitely, they lied and said he obstructed them. They lied and said that he hit him before he was pepper sprayed. They lied and said that he resisted arrest. They lied and said he was speeding. So God, so many lies. And then they extorted the young man saying, well, if you keep this between us, we won't file these charges against you. And then he would have had to get a lawyer. You know, he would have been arrested. And then there's also double jeopardy because the military has their own court. So he would have had to, you know, report it up the chain of command. And even if the prosecutor declined to prosecute from the Isle of Wight, whatever county that is in Virginia, if the prosecutor had declined to prosecute, he still could have faced prosecution and disciplinary action from the Army as well. So he would have had to do all of that, and he did absolutely nothing wrong. So, and he even identified himself as a lieutenant, and one of the officers who was a veteran asked his rank, and he was like, yeah, well, Lieutenant, follow this order then, nigga. He might as well just said Lieutenant nigga, because that's what he meant. You driving around this new car, nigga. How dare you, nigga? How dare you be black and be intelligent and be successful and be higher ranking than me, because I'm just a lowly police officer and you're a high ranking Army official. How dare you be so excellent and black? How dare you? So the lawsuit is asking for $1 million. I actually think he needs to be, they need to ask for more. Because there are Fourth Amendment violations of unreasonable search and seizures, excessive force. There are also state law violations for assault, battery, and also they should have added intentional infliction of emotional distress, but they didn't add that. But they did add false imprisonment, which is the, you know, intent to confine, and actually confining, which he was. He was arrested and put in handcuffs, and he was not. It was not a lawful arrest since he had not violated any law. But I looked up the statute, and in Virginia, intentional infliction of emotional distress is disfavored. Basically, it has to be an egregious act, which arguably being pulled over by two officers who then get out of their cars and draw their guns immediately and aim them at you, and then pepper spray you, pull you out of the car, try to open your door, pull you out of the car, then push you on the ground, kick you, handcuff you, search your car unreasonably. I think that's, you know, intentional infliction of emotional distress, but the Virginia lawyer who's handling this decided not to add that because, again, I guess it's disfavored. But it's a federal lawsuit, but the federal court has concurrent jurisdiction over claims in state court if they're out of the same nucleus of operative fact, meaning that if there are federal claims, which there are, for the violations of the Fourth Amendment, for the unreasonable search and the excessive use of force, that you can tack on state law claims, which they did. They have 30 days to answer this. The complaint was just filed a few days ago, and they can either admit, deny, or, I mean, honestly, I think they're just going to settle, because after the answer is given, then both sides do like depositions where the attorneys will interview the police officers. I just think they're going to settle. I mean, this is a huge story right now, and I don't think that police department or that county wants the smoke. So this case will likely be settled. I hope he gets a hefty settlement, and I hope that both of those officers get fired. So share the story, spread the story, and speak out against police brutality. And that's it.